The object of my secret affection was a man who radiated charisma like a supernova, yet seemed completely oblivious to his own gravitational pull. He was a straight man, painfully, undeniably straight. Yet he clung to me, hugged me, touched me, and called me wifey at the drop of a hat. My heart would hammer against my ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage, every time he did it. But my brain remained lucid, a cold bucket of water reminding me that these were just the games straight guys played. They acted gay for the joke of it, secure in their masculinity, while I, actually gay and deeply in love with him, had to pretend to be breezy and unbothered. I thought this unrequited crush would eventually wither and die in silence. I never expected it to end with him drunkenly holding me, tears streaming down his face, kissing me while sobbing. Why? Why do you have to be such a dense, hopeless straight guy? Wait, excuse me? Who exactly was the straight one in this equation? It started on a Tuesday afternoon. I was coming down the stairs after an elective course in the West Humanities Hall. My mind was wandering, and I missed a step. Gravity took over, and I tumbled down the flight of stairs, landing in a heap on the landing. The reaction from the people around me was immediate. But they didn't rush to help me up, nor did they call the campus clinic. Instead, their first instinct was to summon my guardian. "Justin," someone yelled, pulling out their phone. "Your wifey took a spill. West Hall, second floor. Get here stat." I grimaced, gingerly testing my limbs. My palms were scraped, and my knee throbbed with a sharp, stinging pain, but it was bearable. I didn't think I'd broken anything. "That's really not necessary," I said, trying to wave them off. "I can." My refusal was cut short as Justin's voice boomed from the helpful student speakerphone. Gone was his usual lazy, drawling tone. He sounded sharp, urgent. 2 minutes, Justin snapped. Don't let him try to be a hero and walk on it. And just like that, I, who had managed to limp down one step while holding the wall, was gently but firmly pressed back down to a sitting position by the crowd. When Justin appeared at the corner of the stairwell, a group of guys erupted into a chorus of teasing whistles and cheers. He stood on the platform below me, looking up. His chest was heaving, his breath coming in short bursts. Behind him, the sunset was setting the sky on fire, casting a golden halo around his silhouette against the backdrop of the campus lake. He was more dazzling than the midsummer sun. My heart did that treacherous thing where it skipped a beat and then raced to catch up. Justin ignored the noise around us. He took the steps 2 at a time, crouching down beside me. "Where does it hurt?" he asked, his voice low. "Just the knee," I whispered, feeling the heat rise in my cheeks. "Steven, you really didn't need to come." Justin ignored the second half of my sentence. "Give me your hand." I hesitated, staring at his open palm. Justin smirked, that crooked, charming smile that always made my stomach flip. "Fine, don't give it to me." Before I could process what was happening, the world tilted. A sensation of weightlessness washed over me, and when I snapped back to reality, I was firmly scooped up in his arms, carried bridal style. He nodded once at the guy who had called him. "Thanks, man." Then, holding me as if I weighed nothing, he turned and carried me down the stairs. On the way to the campus clinic, I eventually gave up holding myself stiffly and wrapped my arms around his neck. Buried in the crook of his shoulder, where he couldn't see my face, I inhaled deeply, greedily taking in the scent of clean soap and warm skin. "Steven, how old are you?" Justin teased, his voice rumbling against my chest. "Falling down the stairs like a toddler. You scared the soul right out of my body." I almost didn't catch it. "Sorry," I mumbled. I zoned out. I didn't tell him why I had zoned out. I had heard his name. Some girls were asking for his contact information, and a classmate, spotting me, had grinned wickedly and jerked his chin in my direction. "Go ask his wife," the classmate had said. I had frozen, stunned by the title, and then I had missed the step. The truth was, I was just Justin's roommate. We were close, sure, but there was no romantic label. The crowd knew that. That's why they felt comfortable teasing us. It was a straight guy farce. But none of them, including Justin, knew that I was actually gay. They didn't know that I was genuinely, painfully in love with him. If they knew, the teasing would stop. The comfort would evaporate. Justin would likely avoid me like the plague. We wouldn't even be friends, let alone roommates. I knew my place. The doctor at the clinic confirmed it was just a bad scrape and some bruising. She gave me a bottle of antiseptic and sent us back to the dorms. The path back to the residential quad was crowded with students heading to dinner. I absolutely refused to let him carry me again. A piggyback ride then? Justin offered, raising an eyebrow. No, I said firmly. I can walk. Justin sighed, clicking his tongue in annoyance. Fine. He compromised by wrapping a strong arm around my waist to support me. When he felt me stiffen and try to pull away, his grin widened. Come on, wifey, he drawled, loud enough for a passing couple to turn their heads. Don't be like that. I capitulated. Arguing with a straight man who used wifey as a casual nickname was a losing battle. He was liable to say something even more outrageous if I fought him. I leaned most of my weight against him. Hobbling wasn't too difficult with him acting as a human crutch. But the moment we reached the bottom of our dorm building, 4 floors up, no elevator, he didn't hesitate. He bent down and scooped me up again in one fluid motion. Justin, I gasped, clutching his shoulders. I can walk up the stairs. I tried to push against his chest, but it was like pushing against a brick wall. Stop squirming, Justin said, tightening his grip on my legs. Walking like that takes too long. I'm hungry. Fair point. If I hobbled up 4 flights, we'd be there until midnight. It would be torture for him to wait on me. I stopped struggling. Back in the room, Justin deposited me on his desk. He pulled up a chair and sat between my legs, instructing me to rest my foot on his thigh so he could roll up my pant leg. I was wearing straight-leg jeans. They weren't tight, but they weren't baggy either. As he rolled the denim up past my calf, the fabric bunched and dragged over the raw, scraped skin of my knee. I hissed, sucking in a sharp breath. Justin froze instantly. He looked at the fabric, seeing the dark red stain beginning to seep through. He frowned. Take them off, he commanded. His hands went to my belt buckle. Panic flared in my chest. I slapped my hands over his, stopping him. Justin looked up, his dark eyes meeting mine. He raised a brow, unimpressed. Okay, then I'm cutting them. These are new. I protested. They were $50. Steven, he warned. I sighed. Fine. I unbuckled the belt and shimmied out of the jeans. Sitting there in my boxers, with my skin exposed to the cool air of the dorm, I felt incredibly vulnerable. I clamped my legs together reflexively. Thankfully, Justin didn't make any of his usual flirtatious jokes. He focused entirely on the wound, his expression serious as he applied the antiseptic. I watched the top of his head. His hair was a bit messy from running across campus, and there was a single tuft of hair sticking up, and a hogue that bobbed slightly as he moved. It was ridiculously cute. My hand twitched. I wanted to touch it. If you want to touch, just touch, Justin said calmly, not looking up. I jumped, my heart slamming against my ribs. How did he do that? Did he have eyes in the top of his head? Who? Who said I wanted to touch? I stammered. Justin looked up then, his smile easy and open. Come on. You know you want to. God, his straight guy confidence was going to be the death of me. He was always doing this, grabbing my hand to put on his head, rubbing his head against my palm like a giant, affectionate cat. If I acted weird about it now, it would just prove that I was the one making it weird. So, I leaned forward and ruffled his hair. There, I said, trying to sound nonchalant. Happy. Very, Justin said. Then his hand moved. He wasn't touching my head. His warm, broad palm slid up from my knee and rested on my inner thigh. I froze. My entire body went rigid. Relax, he murmured. Don't clamp down. I need to check if the bruising goes up higher. His fingers pressed into the soft flesh of my inner thigh. The veins on the back of his hand stood out as he applied gentle pressure. Justin, I breathed, my voice trembling. He glanced up, his eyes hooded. Yeah? You agreed to this. I didn't agree to you groping my thigh. I thought, but the words died in my throat. Before I could protest, the dorm door swung open. Our other 2 roommates, loud and boisterous, spilled into the room. Man, that exam was brutal, one was saying. The conversation died instantly as they took in the scene. Me, in my boxers on the desk. Justin, between my legs, his hand high on my thigh. Whoa, one of them said, covering his eyes dramatically. Did we interrupt something? Should we come back later? Shut up, Justin said without heat. He grabbed my jeans from the chair and draped them over my legs, shielding me. He turned and capped the antiseptic bottle. Steven fell. Knees messed up, The roommates dropped the act immediately, crowding around to look at the purple bruise blossoming on my knee. Damn, Steven, you okay? Did you go to the clinic? Why didn't you say something? We could have brought you food. I smiled at them. For all their noise, they were good guys. I'm fine. Just clumsy. Don't worry about food, Justin said, pulling out his phone. He looked at me. What do you want? Text it to me. I'm going to grab takeout. The roommates exchanged a look, their grins returning. Oh, excuse us, one said. We didn't realize Justin was on husband duty. Go on, man. We'll watch over the wifey. I couldn't even get a word in. I just sat there, cheeks burning, wondering how on earth we had ended up with this dynamic. It all started with the king and queen game during our freshman orientation. The rules were simple. Everyone's name was written on a playing card. The cards were shuffled and dealt. If you drew a card with someone's name, that person became your queen, and you were their king. You were supposed to secretly look out for them for the first semester. Fate, it seemed, had a sense of humor. Justin, who was sitting right next to me, drew my name. Well, he had whispered, flashing that dazzling grin and showing me the card. Guess I can't do it secretly now. He winked. Happy to be at your service, my queen. Most people forgot about the game within a week. But Justin, he took it seriously. For an entire year, he looked after me. Somewhere along the line, looking after turned into spoiling, and spoiling turned into a level of doting that made everyone around us assume we were a couple. The first time he called me wifey was during an intramural basketball game. He had just scored a beautiful three-pointer to seal the victory. The gym was deafening with cheers. Sweat dripping down his face, jersey clinging to his chest, he ran straight to me on the sidelines. He grabbed the water bottle from my hands, chugged half of it, the water tracing the line of his throat, and then grinned, breathless and high on adrenaline. Did you see that, wifey? Was I cool? My heart had stopped. Then it had restarted at triple speed. I had gripped the fabric of my pants so hard my knuckles turned white, fighting the urge to scream a confession of love right there in front of everyone. I spent 2 days agonizing over it. Finally, I gathered every ounce of courage I possessed to formally confess to him. I found him in the equipment room. But before I could step inside, I saw he wasn't alone. He was leaning against the wall, shaking his head at a guy standing in front of him. Look, man, Justin was saying, his voice kind but firm. I'm flattered, really. But I'm straight. Like, straighter than a steel beam. I can't bend, not even a little bit. I stood frozen in the hallway. My heart, which had been burning with anxious hope, felt like it had been plunged into ice water. It turned out I wasn't the only guy who liked him. Of course not. He was Justin. I backed away silently. Thank God. Thank God I hadn't walked in there. If I had, the person being gently but firmly rejected would have been me. Justin returned to the dorm with food. I had already showered and was towel drying my hair. He frowned as he set the bags down. You look like a wet dog. Why didn't you wait? You shouldn't get the wound wet. Did you wrap it in plastic? Yeah, I wrapped it, I lied. I had taken a frantic combat shower while he was gone because I knew if he were here, he would insist on helping me, and I couldn't handle seeing him in the bathroom without having a meltdown. Steven, he scolded, reaching out to touch my damp hair. I dodged his hand and sat at my desk. Hey, while you were gone, I remembered something. That girl from the stairwell? She really wants your number. Can I give it to her? Justin paused in the middle of unpacking the takeout containers. He went very still. What do you think? He asked, his voice flat. Internally, I was screaming an O. But I couldn't say that. I had to maintain the facade. I don't know, I mumbled. She's from the business school. She's cute. Big eyes, pale skin. I'm not giving it, Justin said. His tone was icy. Oh, I said, surprised. You don't like cute girls? What's your type? The cool, older sister type? You are a leg man. After all, I already have a wife, he deadpanned. I don't need a girlfriend. I choked on air. Justin, be serious. Stop messing around. Maybe it was a trick of the light, but Justin's eyes seemed to darken. He shoved a pair of chopsticks into my hand and sat down next to me, not saying a word. She doesn't want a date, necessarily. I pressed on, feeling like I was digging my own grave, but unable to stop. Her name is Sarah? I felt bad because she asked in front of everyone, so I added her to ask you later. I stuffed a piece of Kung Pao chicken into my mouth to shut myself up. I chewed slowly, then pulled out my phone. Asterisk message to Sarah. Sorry, Justin isn't looking to date right now. Maybe you should talk to him in person? Asterisk she replied instantly with a panicked sticker. Asterisk Sarah, who wants to date him? Doesn't he have you? I have no interest in wrecking a home. Asterisk my face heated up. Asterisk Steven, we aren't a couple. It's just a joke. Asterisk Sarah, I don't understand you city people. Asterisk she sent a photo. Asterisk Sarah, I took this at the library yesterday. I wanted to send it to him and ask if he'd model for the photography club. Free of charge. He has such a strong aura. I was too scared to ask him directly. I was afraid he'd slap me and confiscate my camera. Asterisk I opened the photo. It was Justin. He was sitting by a window in the library, sunlight bathing his shoulders in gold. He was resting his chin on his hand, staring out the window, lost in thought. The blue tint of the glass, the dark green curtains, his white t-shirt, it was a masterpiece of composition. I had always thought that the sun favored him. It seemed to seek him out, making everything else fade into the background. I silently hit Save Image. Who are you chatting with? Justin asked suddenly, his voice right by my ear. I jumped, flipping my phone face down on the table. Just that girl. She asked if you'd be a model for the photography club. Justin narrowed his eyes. He reached out and poked my cheek, which was bulging with food. You're blushing. I pulled back. It's just. The photo she took is really good. Justin stared at me for a long moment, then let out a cold huff. You guys sure got cozy fast. Cute, huh? So, are you interested? No, he snapped. Not interested. He sounded genuinely angry. Was he mad that I was meddling? I knew he hated hassle. I had overstepped. Okay, I said quietly. But the photo was really good. When Justin turned away to grab a water bottle, I opened the chat again. Asterisk Steven, do you have more? Asterisk Sarah, I have the raw files. I need to edit them. But I can't let unedited photos out into the world. It's against my code. Asterisk Steven. Okay, I'll wait. Asterisk I was smiling down at the screen, admiring the picture again, when I realized the room had gone silent. I looked up. Justin had turned back around. He was watching me with a dark, unreadable expression. My knee healed quickly under Justin's tyrannical care. To thank him, I offered to buy him dinner. After we ate, we walked past the campus cinema. He grabbed my wrist. It's early, he said. I don't have anything to do. Let's watch a movie. A movie? I hesitated. Just the two of us. I'm treating, he said. Deal, I said instantly. We went to the ticket kiosk. It was Friday night, and the theater was packed. The main seating area was sold out. Here, Justin said, his long finger tapping the screen. Back row. I looked closer. Those are couples seats. The love seats without the armrest in the middle. It's the only option, he shrugged. Unless you want to sit in the front row and break your neck. Fine, I said, trying to act cool. Two bros in a love seat. Whatever. We sat down. To our left was a couple already making out before the trailer started. To our right, another couple was whispering sweet nothings. I pressed myself against the far armrest, staring straight ahead at the blank screen, trying to project an aura of pure platonic energy. Justin, however, had no such qualms. He stretched his long legs out, drank his soda, ate my popcorn, and then leaned heavily into my space. Cold, he muttered. I nodded stiffly. Yeah, the AC is strong. How's the knee? Before I could answer, his warm hand landed on my thigh. He began to massage the knee gently. His other arm came up to rest on the back of the seat behind my head. Effectively, he was cuddling me. It's fine, I squeaked. Thanks, bro. You're a good man. Justin froze for a second. He didn't remove his hand, but he stopped rubbing. He didn't sit up either. He just stayed there, leaning on me, silent. The silence was worse. For 30 minutes, I absorbed 0% of the movie plot. My entire existence was focused on the heat radiating from his body and the hand on my knee. Ugh, stop it, a girl's voice giggled from the seat next to us. You're bad. I nearly jumped out of my skin. What are they doing? Justin whispered, his breath hot against my ear. There are cameras, I hissed back. They can't do anything crazy. Cameras can't see everything, he murmured. His hand, which had been on my knee, began to slide up. Slowly, deliberately. It moved past the knee, up the thigh, and slipped under the hem of my shirt to rest on my waist. Can the camera see this? He asked softly. I grabbed his wrist, using every ounce of willpower to keep my voice steady. Justin, stop touching me. Men are like this, he whispered, sounding almost philosophical. When they're with someone they like, they get handsy. It's like a defect. If they don't touch, they feel like they're losing out. I went still. Oh, you know that? Of course I know that, he scoffed. Do you think I'm not a man? No, I know you're a man. I thought miserably. I know because you're a straight man with zero boundaries who touches me constantly without realizing it kills me. He was just proving a point about male psychology. He had no idea he was torturing me. Move your hand, I said, defeated. Justin withdrew his hand and leaned back into his own space. The cold air of the theater rushed in to fill the gap between us. As the credits rolled, Justin got a phone call. My friends are getting late-night barbecue, he told me. Come with. Nah, I'll go back to the dorm, I said. Don't be like that, he said, grabbing my wrist again. The movie was boring. Come meet them. They're cool. He dragged me along. His friends were loud, rich, and popular. But one guy stood out. He was the one from the equipment room, the one who had confessed to Justin. His name was Kyle. Kyle sat quietly while everyone else greeted us. His eyes flicked from Justin to me, cold and assessing. When we sat down, Kyle immediately handed a bunch of skewers to Justin. We waited ages for you, he complained, his tone intimate. Justin took them with a smile. My bad. Send me the bill later. He picked through the skewers, selected the best ones, the tender beef, the chicken hearts, and placed them on my plate. Eat up, he whispered to me. Don't eat the dry ones. I was still reeling from the fact that Kyle was here. I guess you really can be friends after a rejection, I thought. Damn, Justin, one of the guys laughed. You're getting better at serving people. Who knew? I'm still learning, Justin said easily. I glanced at Kyle. He was staring at his drink, his expression tight. Toward the end of the meal, I reached into my pocket for my mints. Empty. Justin always ate mints after heavy food. I'm going to buy mints, I said. I'll go with you, Justin said, starting to rise. Stay, a friend said, grabbing his arm. Finish this round of the game. We need you to carry us. It's fine, I said. The store is right next door. I went to the convenience store. I was crouching down, looking for the peppermint flavor, when a shadow fell over me. I stood up, clutching the tin. It was Kyle. Hi, I said, forcing a smile. You want mints too? He crossed his arms, leaning against the shelf. Can you stay away from him? My smile faltered. What? Can you stay away from Justin? He repeated. I stood there, mouth opening and closing like a fish. You enjoy it, don't you? Kyle sneered. Being taken care of. Being the center of his attention. But you don't give anything back. You act oblivious, clinging to that spot next to him, refusing to leave. It's shameless. I stammered. I haven't. We aren't. I've known Justin for 10 years, Kyle interrupted, his voice rising. He's loyal. Once he starts looking after someone, he doesn't stop easily. I don't want to say this, but do you get it? I felt the blood drain from my face. I'm sorry, I whispered. I didn't mean to monopolize him. We're just roommates. Then act like it. Kyle snapped, shoving my shoulder. Can you have some self-awareness? Get lost. Stop blocking his path to a normal relationship. You're in the way. It felt like a physical blow. He was right. Justin was responsible. He was stuck with me because of a stupid game from freshman year. And I, selfishly, had let him continue because I loved the attention. I was blocking him. I was the problem. Steven, Justin's voice cut through the air. I looked up. Kyle was gone, vanished back into the night. Justin stood at the entrance of the aisle, frowning. What took so long? You look pale. He reached out to touch my forehead. I recoiled, dodging his hand. Nothing. Just zoned out. Are you done? Yeah, we're done. Justin stared at me, his eyes narrowing. Did Kyle say something to you? No, I lied quickly. Let's go. We'll miss curfew. We didn't have our keys, so our roommate let us in. Oh look, the roommate grinned. The couple is back. I thought you guys were getting a room tonight. Don't say that. I snapped. The words came out harsher than I intended. It's not funny anymore. The room went silent. The roommate looked shocked. Justin, standing behind me, went perfectly still. I walked to my desk, my heart pounding. Just stop. It's annoying. Steven, Justin said. Come outside. We need to talk. Tomorrow, I said, grabbing my pajamas. Now, Justin said. He grabbed my wrist, his grip like iron. He dragged me out to the stairwell landing and pinned me into the corner. "What is going on?" he demanded. He was usually so calm, but now his chest was heaving. I looked at the floor. "I just mean, people misunderstand our relationship. We are just roommates. Just friends. We shouldn't let them get the wrong idea." "Look at me," Justin growled. He grabbed my chin, forcing my head up. His eyes were blazing with confusion and hurt. "Why?" he asked. "This afternoon we were fine. What did Kyle say to you? You tell me right now." I closed my eyes. "He said I'm preventing you from having a normal relationship." Justin's grip on my chin loosened instantly. He stepped back, looking stunned. "A normal relationship," he repeated, his voice hollow. He didn't deny it. He didn't say, "No, Steven, you are my relationship." He just stood there, looking like he'd been slapped. That was answer enough. I turned and walked back into the room. Justin didn't come back to the dorm that night. "Did you guys break up?" our roommate asked the next morning, looking terrified. "We were never together," I said, my voice dull. I spent the next day in a fog. Sarah, the photography girl, found me in the afternoon. She dragged me to the rooftop to take pictures because she needed a model, and Justin was MIA. "You look like a tragic hero in a post-apocalyptic movie," she commented, snapping away. Very angst. Very chic. I leaned against the wall, staring at the distant skyline. Where was Justin? "Oh, hey," Sarah said, checking her phone. "Justin finally added me back." I froze. "He added you?" "Yeah." She showed me the screen. "See?" A sour feeling twisted in my gut. He had ignored my messages all day, but he added her? Was he finally taking Kyle's advice? Was he going to date a girl? "He hasn't replied to my message though," Sarah said. "Maybe he's just intimidated by my talent." She scrolled up. "Anyway, I finished editing the photos from last week. Do you want them?" "Sure," I said. "There's one failed shot," she said. "The lighting was weird, but the vibe is immaculate." "I'll send it." "It's the one from the library." My phone pinged. I opened the file. It was the photo of Justin by the window. The silhouette, the jawline, the gentle smile. "I call this one the look of love," Sarah sighed. "You can't fake that expression." "When was this taken?" I asked. "Last Wednesday," she said. "Around 4:30. I stared at the timestamp. "Last Wednesday. 4:30. I pulled up my chat history with Justin. Last Wednesday, at 4:32 p.m., Justin had sent me a picture of a cloud shaped like a dog. Asterisk Justin. This cloud looks like you. I'm so bored. I can't focus on studying. I should have gone to class with you. When are you done? I'll come pick you up. Asterisk I looked at the photo Sarah took. He was smiling at his phone. He was smiling at me. The realization hit me like a freight train. Justin wasn't just being a responsible straight guy. He wasn't just playing a game. You don't look at a phone screen like that for a roommate. I had been an idiot. I had let my own insecurities and Kyle's bitter words cloud my judgment. I rushed back to the dorm, but Justin still wasn't there. I waited until dark. I called him 7 times. No answer. Finally, on the 8th ring, the line picked up. "Stop calling," a voice slurred. It wasn't Justin. It was Kyle. "You're annoying. I hung up on you so many times. Take a hint." Rage, pure and white hot, flared in my chest. "Put Justin on the phone," I said, my voice shaking. "Where is he?" "Why should I?" Kyle sneered. "I told you to stay away." "Listen to me, you loser." I snapped, shocking myself. "You got rejected, so now you're trying to sabotage him? Put him on the phone, or I swear to God I will call the police and report a kidnapping." Kyle went silent. He's drunk." "Location," I barked. "Now." I found them at a bar near campus. Justin was wasted. He was slumped over the table, dead to the world. Kyle looked guilty. We didn't force him. He drank it all himself. "You're done," I told Kyle. "Stay away from him." I hauled Justin into a taxi. He was heavy, a dead weight of muscle and alcohol. He mumbled something unintelligible and leaned his head on my shoulder. "Wifey," he whimpered. My heart melted into a puddle of goo. "I'm here," I whispered. "I'm here." The taxi driver glared at us in the rearview mirror. $500 cleaning fee if he pukes. I clamped my hand over Justin's mouth, just in case. I couldn't take him back to the dorm in this state. The RA would write him up. I booked a room at a hotel near the university. Getting him into the room was a struggle. I propped him up in the elevator, his arm around my neck. He stared at me with glassy, unfocused eyes. "Steven, Yeah, it's me. Suddenly, he cupped my face with both hands. Before I could react, he dipped his head and smashed his lips against mine. It wasn't a gentle kiss. It was desperate, sloppy, and tasted of whiskey and mint. MMPH. I tried to push him away, panic rising. Asterisk, he's drunk. He thinks I'm a girl. He's going to kill me when he wakes up. Asterisk, but he didn't stop. He deepened the kiss, his tongue pushing past my lips, claiming me with a hunger that made my knees weak. The elevator dinged. I practically dragged him down the hallway, stumbling into the room. We fell onto the bed, him on top of me. He didn't stop kissing me. His hands were everywhere, in my hair, under my shirt. Justin, I gasped, managing to shove his chest. Stop. Do you know who I am? He blinked, his eyes swimming with tears. Wifey. I am not. You are, he sobbed. He buried his face in my neck, his hot tears wetting my skin. You're such a straight man, he cried. Why? Why do you have to be such a dense, hopeless straight guy? I froze. What? I whispered. He pulled back, sniffing loudly. I like you so much. I've been opening my tail like a peacock for a year. My feathers are falling out from the effort. And you just sit there. Oh, thanks bro, you're a good friend. Bro, you're killing me. He hiccuped. Why are you straight? What? I stared at him. My brain was short-circuiting. He thought I was the straight one? Justin, I said slowly. I'm not straight. He glared at me through his tears. Liar. Then he passed out, face planting into the pillow. I didn't sleep. I spent the entire night pacing the room, watching him snore, occasionally poking him to make sure this wasn't a hallucination. Morning came with a blinding beam of sunlight. Justin groaned and sat up, clutching his head. He looked around the hotel room, confused, until his eyes landed on me. I was sitting in the chair, watching him. Stephen, he croaked. He looked terrified. Did we? No, I said quickly. Nothing happened. You got drunk. I brought you here. You slept. He slumped, looking relieved but also disappointed. Right. But, I said, standing up. You said some things. He went pale. What did I say? You said I was a dense straight guy. Justin buried his face in his hands. Oh God. You said you've been peacocking for a year. Kill me, he muffled. Just kill me now. I walked over to the bed. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. Justin, I said. I like you. He froze. Slowly, he peeked through his fingers. What? I like you. I repeated, my voice gaining strength. I've liked you for a long time. I didn't say anything because I thought you were the straight one. I thought you were just playing games. He dropped his hands. He stared at me, mouth agape. Wait, he said. So when you rejected the idea of the couple's seat, I was panicking. And when you tried to set me up with Sarah, I was jealous. And when you told Kyle we were just friends, I thought I was protecting you from my gay agenda. Justin stared at me for a long, agonizing minute. Then, he started to laugh. He laughed until he fell back onto the pillows, covering his eyes with his arm. We are idiots, he groaned. We are actually the two stupidest people on this campus. I climbed onto the bed and pried his arm away from his face. So, are we good? He looked at me, his eyes clear and full of warmth. Good? No. We're great. He pulled me down for a kiss. This one gentle, sober, and full of promise. By the way, he murmured against my lips. Why did you add Sarah? To get photos of you, I admitted. Delete them, he said possessively. You can take your own photos. Deal. And Kyle. I yelled at him. I said proudly. I threatened to call the cops. Justin smirked. That's my wifey. Much later, I found out the truth about the king and queen game. Justin hadn't drawn my name by chance. He had been the one to shuffle the cards. He had palmed my card and swapped it, ensuring he would be my king. Why? I asked him, tracing the line of his jaw. Because, he said softly, when you walked into the dorm on move-in day, it felt like a breeze blew right through me. I knew I was in trouble. Some loves are loud crashes. Ours was a comedy of errors, a series of misunderstandings, and two idiots convinced the other was straight. But in the end, the king got his queen. Or rather, the king got his husband. And I wouldn't have it any other way.